Hello, my little pixels. I'm your darkly dreaming Kira, and you're watching Psychopath Exposure. Welcome back. We're going to be reading a comment left by one of our subscribers, one of the warriors in the community, Narcissist Survivor, LaLunar8, and she goes, I love your checklist. I love how you look at everything. Ever since I met the narcissist, which was 3.5 years ago, I have not had a good routine for one reason or another. At first, my routine fell off because when I met the narcissist, I was in La La Land, so elated to have someone I thought cared about me. I was single for 12 years before he entered, so it was life-changing. And then during the relationship, I moved to be closer to him, and we had plans on a business venture. The business venture was a lie, so that never happened. And since I have moved, I have felt in limbo because it's a temporary living situation, and that took my entire routine away. I have tried to establish a good routine while dating the narcissist. However, with roller coaster highs and lows, I spent most of 2024 so depressed that I could barely get up in the morning. I basically only lived for work. Now that everything is over and I am in no contact since February of this year, I'm slowly gaining myself back. And having a routine is so important. I must admit that my brain is still very scattered and it's hard for me to be consistent. Listening to you helps learn what I need to do better. I need to create things in my life that I look forward to each day. Thanks, LaLunar. Sorry you had to go through that. I think we can all relate with her comment in regards to having a routine and why a routine is so important to recovering from narcissistic abuse, and at the same time why it's so important for your overall mental health and well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not getting out alive. We're all playing this game. We don't know when it's going to end. All we know is that we are existing at this very moment in time. And we have a finite amount of time. We just don't know how much. However, it is finite and we could not be existing. We could not be existing, but we are existing and we're here. So we have to do the best that we can to live life to the fullest. Because once it's over, it's game over. So you go through narcissistic abuse, you go through a toxic entanglement, you go through a nasty divorce, you go through addiction, you go through all sorts of chaotic situations in your life that leave a scar, that leave trauma behind, changes who you are forever. But you're still stuck in this planet. You're still stuck until your expiration date arrives. So what are you going to do? Are you going to waste your time here, moping, ruminating, giving up just because things didn't work out the way you wanted to with that someone that you thought was going to be your ride or die? Is that what you're going to do? Or are you going to try to do the best that you can, considering the situation, considering how traumatized you are, considering how lonely, how dark it gets during those dire moments, and to remember that the person you put your trust in ended up betraying you. I know it gets hard because I've been there. And many of us here in the community have also been there. Some of us are going through that right now. Some of you are going through that right now. But regardless of how difficult it is, you're still on this planet and life goes on, and the natural order of things does not seem to care either way, whether you feel happy, whether you feel sad, whether you've got trauma, whether everything is just flowing your way. It does not care. it's going to continue to flow regardless of how you feel. The sun's going to shine, the rain's going to come down, the temperatures are going to change, unless you're in Florida and it's always summer. But it does not care. So why should you? Think about it for a moment. Why should you care how you feel at this particular moment when you know damn well that feelings are fleeting and that any moment you could feel differently? You could drink a cup of coffee and after the first 2 or 3 sips, you notice you start to feel better. You could drink H2O and feel refreshed and hydrated, unless you're drinking tap water, which doesn't do a damn thing for you. But if you're drinking Mountain Valley out of a bottle, if you can afford the Mountain Valley bottles of water every day at 33 fluid ounces, and you want to drink about 2 or 3 of those a day, and you're going to feel quite hydrated and refreshed and inspired because it has all those minerals. And note, this is not an ad for Mountain Valley, but if you want to send me Mountain Valley bottles of water to my domain, to my dwelling space, you can. But I digress. Either way, the natural order of things does not care how you feel, so why should you? You have an obligation to yourself while you're still on this planet, on this plane, to live your life to the fullest, because you only have one shot. When you die, you do not go to some lobby like in a video game and you sit there and you wait to respawn and then you're going to give it another go. And that other go, what, you just spawn back to before you met the narcissist and you get to replay the game from there? Or do you respawn when you were a baby and you first came into this world? Or do you respawn somewhere else in a third world country and you try living that life and see if it's any better than what you're going through now? I don't think so. You only got one shot. And whatever happened, happened. And it sucks. But had that not happened, you wouldn't have learned the things that you've learned. And the great things that you're going to experience, whether by random or whether by coincidence or whether because of the hard work that you devote yourself to, whatever the case may be, those things would not have entered your life had you not been through the other thing. So pat yourself on the back if you're still alive. Pat yourself on the back if you were able to get out of the toxic entanglement. Pat yourself on the back if you were able to get away from the psychopath narcissist. If you were able to put them in prison if they were criminals. If you were able to block them and never look back. Because he said, enough is enough with this abuse. I'm not going to be treated this way by the very same person that's supposed to be my, pretty much your ride or die. The person that you trust, the person that you sleep with, the person you wake up in the morning next to, the person you look forward to spending your weekends with. That's not the person that you're supposed to be walking on eggshells around. That's not the person that you're supposed to be feeling like you need to defend yourself and justify the things that you do to this person. You're not supposed to feel like they're your enemy. And yet, that's what the relationship felt like, especially once the mask came off. Once the narcissist's mask comes off and you see what they really are, there's just no going back from that. I digress. I saw some video clip of some chick saying something about, if you really want to know everything you need to know about a man, you're going to see it over a game of pickup basketball at LA Fitness. And that was funny because I play a lot of pickup basketball. I hate playing at LA Fitness. People are just arguing and yelling, bunch of scrubs. A lot of them can't even ball. And it just wastes so much time arguing over nonsense, bunch of scrubs. But that's where you see who you're dealing with. When over a simple game, they can just lose their mind and just go on a tantrum and a tirade. It's ridiculous, the type of things that you see at LA Fitness. And it was pretty funny. But I digress. My point is, once you see something like that in a situation, it's like going out on a date, and seeing how your date treats the server or the waiter or the waitress or whatnot. See how they treat them. You'll learn a lot about that person when seeing something like that. So pay attention to those details when you're dating or when you're in a relationship, and do not be surprised when things pop off later. Now, as far as the routine, just looking at this thing here, because it's funny. It's just funny to me. It's just inside joke. Don't worry about it. People trying to figure out what's in my head. You don't know me. You don't know what's in my head. Stop. It's talking to that other voice. As far as having a routine, let me tell you what a routine does. It creates order and structure in your life, especially when you're coming off of a narcissistic, abusive relationship. You've pretty much lost the will to live, and you don't know whether you're coming or you're going. So you need some sort of structure, because whatever you had in place before no longer works. The rug has been pulled beneath your feet, and you're in chaos. Even though the real chaos was the dynamics of the relationship, even though you're out of the relationship, you are in chaos now because you cannot function properly anymore. So you need to establish order back into your life. And whether you feel like it or not means nothing to me. It means nothing to the natural order of things. You stick to them. You commit to what you wrote down. I like to use like personal organizational websites like Asana. I use another one that's kind of like a game. I think it's called Habitica. And you get points, almost like a little video game. You create a little character, and you get experience points every time you check off your to-do list or your habits and your routine, and you create a streak. You get experience points for it, and it motivates you to purchase swords and outfits and backgrounds and cool stuff like that. And you can tailor it almost as detailed as Asana. And it's cool to have that. So I like to get up really early. When I'm at my best, I'm getting up really early. And I follow my routine to a T. It's not as cool as a Patrick Bateman morning routine, but I'm working on it. It's getting there. It's still pretty cool for me. It involves cold showers. It involves meditation. It involves planks. I like to do a lot of planks, side planks, control planks. I like to do planks all day long whenever I feel like a need to get out of the chair and move around. If I'm working from home or if I'm working from a remote location, I like to get up and do some planks. Granted, at the Starbucks or at the local coffee shop, I don't really get on the floor to do planks because that would be weird. But when I'm home, I do those things and I feel good, and it only takes a couple of minutes per side or whatever. And I like to get 5 minutes done and break it down 1.5 minutes each side, and then like 2 minutes on the front, and check that off. And if I want to do more later, I'll do more later. But it's little things like this, having tall glass of ice cold water, supplements, vitamins, working out. I like to get a fasted workout in, whether it's weight training or cardio. I like to do it fasted. Good shower afterwards. I like to have my coffee, double espresso Americano, right? Black, no cream or sugar. Things like that. Do a little routine thing. I feel like I'm ready to conquer, ready to take on the world. And it's routines like this that when I was going through the recovery stage of the narcissistic abuse, when I was going through the aftermath, it's those routines that I told myself, look, I'm going to do this regardless of what I feel, because I didn't want to get out of bed. Let's just be real. So it's not about I was excited to do it. It's just that I was doing it. And I knew that if I did it once, that first day was going to be the hardest, That the hardest part was going to be the first day. If I could just get through that first day and make that commitment to myself and show up and do the thing I said I was going to do. I made a commitment to myself. I don't want to let myself down the same way my psychopath ex let me down. I'm not going to let myself down. If I can only get through that first day and do everything on my checkbox, get the routine done, get my to-dos, just get those done. I knew that tomorrow morning I was going to feel better when my brain realized that I was successful in doing the thing I said I was going to do. I was going to wake up with trauma. I was going to wake up with anxiety. That wasn't going to change yet, but I knew that I was going to think about how my day went yesterday, and I was going to be like, oh yeah, I did all that. I got my chest workout in. I did my planks, got my vitamins in, and I got up at 6 in the morning, and I did some work on the computer. Like whatever it was that I did it. And that would send a little dopamine hit into my brain. It would send something positive would pop off from that realization. And that would help get me out of bed on day 2. And I was like, oh, I got to do what I committed to doing today just as well as yesterday. But somehow it was 0.5% easier knowing that I had done it the day before. There was just something about, okay, I did it not. The ball's rolling. Let's. It's still hard, but let's get it moving. It's easier than yesterday. The third day was easier than the second day. The fourth day was even easier. And by the time I had compounded a few days, I had a streak. I didn't want to break the streak. I didn't want to have to look at my chart and not being able to cross off the thing and know that now I have to start over. And starting over doesn't necessarily mean that I was starting over back to anxiety through the roof or anything like that. Those days that I did the things, they count. They made me stronger. But it bothers me that I could no longer say, hey, I got 7 days in a row. It's like back to 0. And the same law applies with the no contact. What got me through those days was that no contact streak that I built for myself. I wrote an ebook about no contact. If you guys don't have it, I used to give it away for years. You can click on the link that's flashing below down here. And I also have a link in the description so you can download that book, the ebook for free, and check it out. It tells you how to go no contact with a psychopath or a narcissist or a toxic individual that you're trying to break up or separate from. But it was that streak. It was that streak that kept me going. I was like, hey, I haven't read old texts. I haven't checked their Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media was popular at the time, because I don't use Facebook, but it was Instagram, Snapchat, and things like that. I haven't heard from her. I'm not calling. It was another check. It was hard at first. Got easier. And I remember when 30 days, I was like, I can't believe it's been 30 days. And then when it was 60 days, I can't believe it's been 60 days. And before you know it, years went by, right? So the same thing is with your morning routine or whatever type of routine that you need to get work done and to make time for projects, to make time for health and fitness and exercise and goals and things like that. You're going to feel better when you're able to look back and be like, ooh, I did it. I did it again. Right? And once you start building that streak, you develop confidence, power. You start believing in yourself more. It is vital to establish a routine on your day-to-day, especially when you're trying to get your life back together after a narcissistic, abusive relationship. If you need help creating one, if you need guidance, establishing order back into your life, remembering who you are, figuring out what it is that you want out of life now that the narcissist is gone and your life is in shambles, contact me, schedule some private consultations. I have a coaching program designed specifically for victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse. I have been doing this for a very, very long time. More information in the link below and in the description. Check that out to apply for the program and see if we're a good fit for each other. And I would love to guide you out of this nightmare so that you can experience the things that we talk about, like the paradise, the silver lining that comes out of all of this. I can help you reach those levels of bliss even, because after you go through something like that, anything that comes out that's pretty awesome is going to feel 50 times more awesome compared to how low you got, believe me. So check that out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about your morning routine. If you have one, do you have a before bed, like a bedtime routine that works for you maybe? I think it's important to have both. I feel the morning one is the most powerful, but believe it or not, having some sort of system before bed as well, especially to get off the cell phone, that's a huge one. So let me know what you guys have developed for yourself. Have you guys created something special after the discard, or did you already have something in place? I know some people have had stuff like this in place all of their lives, and the narcissist came in and disrupted it, but as soon as they just tapped back into it, the brain remembered how life used to be, and you got back in the wagon and you started kicking ass again. So I am curious, because everyone has their own routine. I'm not saying you have to adapt mine. You can get inspired. I can get more detailed if you like about this. If you really want to know about my routine, I could make a special video just about that. But I'm just hoping that whatever I give you guys today does serve as some sort of inspiration to get you guys rolling again, get you guys excited about life again. Because as I said at the beginning of the video, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. No one's getting out of this alive. And we got to be grateful that we are existing, because we could very well not be existing. Now, one of the things that people struggle with in a narcissistic relationship, and why it's so difficult to heal from, is when you're dealing with somebody that provokes and pushes your buttons, looking for a reaction out of you, trying to get you to explode and to do something that you regret, something that they could catch on film and maybe exploit you with, or blackmail you with, or create a smear campaign all over the internet, maybe even call the police on you. Like, that's called rage baiting. That's called reactive abuse, and it's something narcissists and psychopaths do to their victims, and they find great pleasure in. If that's happened to you, I did a video just for you explaining how this works and how to combat that. So check that out right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.